Hey YouTube, it's Olympus Reptiles, and today, well, before I get into that, let's just back up the train a little bit, okay? So every so often you keep hearing people say the next great thing, the next great thing, the next big thing in reptiles. You guys remember these guys right here? Check these out. Remember these guys? Oh, you open your mouth at me? You have a yawn? Whoa, I scared you. These are blue-tongued skinks. Not so long ago, everybody thought this was going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. They were going to be the next ball python, the next big reptile, the next this and next that. I get it, the size, everything else, although you're kind of a homely chap, if I'm being quite honest. Yeah, I'll say it. But anyway, I don't think they ever really took off the point people thought they would. A lot of people love them, I'm not knocking them, but they definitely never came to rival ball pythons, right? And you have your, like, I don't know, I want to say holy trinity because there's more than that, but you have your 4 or 5 big reptiles that have cornered the market for a length of time, or their section of the market. And I would say those have been leopard geckos, bearded dragons, corn snakes, ball pythons, and we could probably throw cresteds in there.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
No, not really.
So those have all at some point in time held a huge market share. And we're always in the reptile community chasing what's going to be the next big thing. Well, let me show you a potential one. There's a few things that go into an animal being the next big thing. And I know this has most of them. There's one I don't think it has yet, but it may come with time. One of those is size. Size is important. You don't want big animals, don't appeal to everybody. It's hard to keep, take up so much room. People are afraid of them, yada, yada, yada. Big animals are never going to corner the entire market, correct?
No, I don't, and I think that's what stops tegus from getting there, because tegus stay pretty calm.
Yeah.
They hit a lot of your topics that make a great best big thing, color phases, handability, docile and everything, but they just get big.
Truth. They get big. Handleability is a pretty big thing. That's why chameleons will never take over the world, because they don't like you touching them. They have to look bitchin', okay? No way to say it. They got to look bitchin'. And blue-tongued skinks are like, I always thought they're kind of looking myself. They're cool. They have some color morphs, but they got to look bitchin'. Bearded dragons looked bitchin'. They were really handleable. They had a lot of personality. They were cool, right? And then the next thing, and this is the only thing that our animal we're about to reveal to you is missing, is color phases and color morphs. Yeah. And this particular animal doesn't have any, but I think it's so bitch. I think there's really kind of 2 separate ones I know of.
Yes.
And they're a pretty minor difference. And they're not even really a color morph, I don't think. It's actually a separate species.
Yes, completely separate.
But they're really similar. So, but we're going to share these with you. They touch every other base, but they're so bitchin' looking.
They're pretty cool.
They are.
They are.
Like, I think the level of, is level of bitchin' a word? I'm stuck on that word today. Level of bitchin' is so high. I'm back in the 90s. This is great. Is so high it can make up for the color more. So what is the most bitchin' reptile lizard we have right now, looks-wise, you think? Do you know what I'm talking about? See if we're on the same page.
Yeah.
If you know, just grab it. Just go grab it. Don't show him grabbing it. I want him to surprise the camera on his hand. So we'll see. Oh, yep. He's in the same cage I was talking about. So he's going to bring one to you, and we're going to reveal it like, they're not real big, but these things look so freaking cool. All right, Caleb, you ready?
Yeah.
You guys ready for the big reveal? Here it comes. The next big bitchin' reptile.
These are red-eyed crocodile skinks. Now, like you were saying, there is another separate species called the white-eyed. The only difference is, other being a different species, is they don't have those red eyes like that guy does, and they get a little bit smaller. Now, there's technically a third one in that family, but they look nothing like this. They just look like a little tiny skink that are about the size of this guy's tail here. So they're not going to take off like I think these guys will.
Right.
They are an egg-laying species, but they only lay about 1 to 2 eggs a year. That's one of their drawbacks. Is it's hard to mass produce them. But they do really great with being in pairs. They're one of the few animals that you can truly have communal aquariums and things set up. These guys come from New Guinea, so they don't need a lot of heat. Just a lot of live plants, a lot of water features. These guys eat bugs and fish and different things like that. One of their coolest defenses, and he's not going to do it because this guy's probably one of the best red-eyed crocodile skinks we've had in a long time, is they scream. They are very vocal like tokay geckos.
Which is awesome.
He will open his mouth up and just, it'll be so high-pitched, it's just this scream at you. He does not lose his tail. But the coolest thing is they are visually sexed. So,
that means you can see the dick.
Which one is this one? This one is the female.
Now, how are you telling that? Because it's not really seeing the dick. I'm just joking.
No, yeah. On the back feet, I don't know if I can get him to cooperate enough. Males will get little scent glands on their back toes. This guy does not have them, so this one's the female. I do know we have a sexed pair right now currently, so this is the female. Females also get visibly bigger. Like, it's noticeable. It's not something we're like, it's kind of, they noticeably get bigger.
So, but the feet thing, back to that really quick, is that similar to like sex in, say, a veiled chameleon?
Yeah, kind of. It's not so much like a big spike, but there's visibly just giant, like, it looks like giant extra scales on those back two toes.
And then if we can focus really quick on where the name comes from on the back of this animal shell, I hope the lighting is good enough in here. So everybody's always wanted to have, if you're a reptile guy, you said, man, I want to have an alligator, I want to have a crocodile sometime, and you can never really get one for most people. We're very fortunate to be able to have a dwarf caiman. But let's be honest, for the average pet keeper, that is just not in the realm of normal. That's why you probably watch people like, Brian Barczyk and, Jay from Prehistoric Pets. They have shit you just can't have, right? But here, this thing looks, other than the head shape, a lot like a little baby alligator. The back has that same type of scalation on it, and that row of scales. If the nose is a little longer, it'd almost be like a little baby dwarf caiman, which is just awesome. Like, that's why I think they're, again, comes back to the word bitchin'. They just look so cool because of that.
Awesome. And they're so easy to take care of. Not at high lighting. I mean, you don't need a crazy strong UV light. A lot of people don't even. Some people put them in rack systems with no heat, just room temperature. Probably on the warmer side. A lot of people, when they think room temperature, they think the temperature of their house. Usually room temperature to me is about 75 on that higher range for your room temperature reptile enclosures.
Right, which if you keep a reptile room, these actually do pretty well in there. So.
They are probably, hands down, the red-eyes are definitely so much cooler than the white-eyes because that red eye is so distinct. The white-eyes technically don't even have a white eye, it's just, there's no red, so they just, I don't know if they call them the red-eyes. Now, as babies, they can be kept with their parents. They have...
Really?
I don't want to say, like, maternal instincts or parental instincts, but there is some. Like, they have been noted to move kind of eggs around to make sure they're in a good position. A lot of people keep them in colonies and let the parents raise up the babies before they pull. Like, they're not something where, like, bearded dragons, you're pulling instantly because mom and dad will eat the eggs, and then you put the babies in there and mom and dad will eat the babies. This is something that...
Well, they don't devour their own young.
No.
That's pretty cool. And again, it's funny because, the crocodile's king name, but crocs are very similar.
Yeah.
That's funny that they share that similar. I mean, even people used to think that alligators and crocs would eat their babies because they'd see them put them in their mouth, but they actually put them in their mouth to move them. And then, like, open their mouth and like...
Babies everywhere. But yeah, and I mean, they're even vocal like baby alligators
and
stuff. So
is it the same type of noise or is it the scream?
It's more, I mean, I would honestly put it in between if you've heard a leopard gecko scream and the crocodile's laser noise. I mean, I've seen so many videos where people put the crocodile's noises to like laser shots because they sound like lasers. It's a definite in between that.
Very cool. I've heard the tokays bark at me.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like a good vocal lizard.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about this guy?
They're definitely heavily underrated. They are making advances. So, they were something that you would pick up for, back in the day, $80 because they were just wild-caught imports. Typically didn't do well at all. You're definitely seeing a huge influx of breeding. I think the only thing holding it back right now is that they only lay 2 eggs a year. That is
slow.
it. They're super slow breeders.
Not a ton of color morphs, like we said. This is pretty much it. But they look so cool in the wild type form. I mean, if we can make one leucistic, I guess that'd be pretty awesome. But they look just really neat. Like, I like them.
And he's almost full grown, so you don't even have to worry about a big enclosure. Most people even do if they're breeding large quantities, they do stackable totes from Walmart.
And here's the thing too, they're fast. Like I saw one running, they're really fast.
Yeah.
But when you get them picked up, they're easy to pick up and they're pretty chill.
Mm-hmm. No, agreed.
They don't seem to do the flying leap off the like the crested gecko leap of faith. So it's pretty neat. Kurt, anything you want to add?
So what's the what type of food do they eat, and what's the general care of them?
So like I was saying, just room temperature 75 to 80s. You don't want to put too much heat. Heat kills them pretty quickly too. Tubs, or I would go probably 20 gallon. I currently have a pair in a 40 gallon with a lot of water, big water feature. They love swimming. You used to read back in the day that they would drown. That was just because we weren't necessarily giving them the proper care. They were cold, lethargic, and they just didn't do well. Nowadays, we've definitely seen them swimming and doing really well. Lots of dirt for them to dig in. They love digging in the dirt, and they're going to eat all kinds of bugs and fish. I would do feeder guppies. A lot of your feeder fish get pretty big for these guys, so just little feeder guppies about yay big. And then they like the waxworms, and they will. The downside to them, the harder part with them is if you do a bioactive where you got your springtails and stuff like that, they are unless you feed them really, really well, they're going to be eating and picking off your roly-polies, your springtails and things like that. So you kind of have to keep replenishing that. But any little bug that moves, that's theirs. They're going for it.
Pretty good appetites, then.
Very good appetites.
Anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's all.
Kurt, you 2 in a row, buddy. I'm like, this is a damn record. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, guys, that's all we got. We're going to slide over to Patreon and talk about something else we're going to find interesting here in a few minutes.